Hi, everybody. Welcome to JustJuleigh.com presents Rose All Day and Julie's a Mess. I am your host for this wonderful podcast. My name is Juleigh Mayfield, and today I am joined by one of my favorite people and best friends, Sean Lewis. Hey,
Hi.
Sean.
Hi, Julie.
All the way from Orlando. How are you doing?
Oh, living the dream. No longer working for the day, so I feel pretty good to finally join you and get to spend time with you for the first time.
I'm
God
so
knows how long.
excited. It is our inaugural podcast, and Rose All Day and Julie's a Mess. We couldn't really decide on a name. I am looking for a wine sponsor, so I thought, well, we'll do Rose All Day because I do like to drink rosé. I should drink it all day. It's kind of like my water. Today, for today's episode, I've been saving this bottle ever since I actually moved from Orlando. So I think it's awesome that you're joining me from Orlando. And this is a bottle I bought like 3 years ago. And it is called Cape Rosé. Cape Rosé. And it's got a wonderful smell. In the terms of rosés, I really like it. It's light and fresh. But that is the rosé today and all day today, and probably all night. I'll probably finish it after this live. What are you drinking, Sean?
Well, I don't have any, rosé or wine, but I am drinking through a special cup, the shape of a skull. So I thought, what could that compliment, for a fun night like this? So I decided, why not drink, the blood of lost children?
I love it.
Just
Everybody,
water.
right?
Just water at the moment.
I'm looking for a wine sponsor, and Sean is looking for a blood of lost children sponsor.
Well, I am in Florida, so God knows, how fast, something may come through here.
Right. There are tons of lost children in Florida.
Anyway. I know, especially my phone goes off. It's like Amber Alert, Amber Alert. I'm, oh my God, someone's asking for attention once again.
Look, I love a good Amber Alert. I am probably getting in trouble for this statement, but I get so mad when I roll over in the middle of the night and it's like Amber Alert, and I look and I'm like, yo, I'm in Nebraska. This Amber Alert is in Missouri. What are the odds that this car is making it to Nebraska? Well, let's be honest. Nobody comes to Nebraska anyway. Uh-oh. But it's like, and then half the people in America shut the alert off. I see Randy. I see France. I'm just kidding.
You see Randy.
I hope he's not in his underpants, or maybe he is.
No, he's in regular shorts.
Anyway.
Taking vitamins, being healthy, which is important. Take your vitamins.
I take my vitamins every day. Hi, Randy. So, Sean, let's tell the good people at home how you know me.
How we know you? Oh, wow. This definitely does take us back quite a few years. I wish I could remember the exact year, but I want to say between the years of 2011, 2012 is when I encountered you. We were working in Long Beach, California for a very unique place. That was the RMS Queen Mary, an ocean liner from 1936 to 1967 that was converted to a floating hotel and a museum. I was working as a tour guide, and when I first met you, you first started off as a front desk agent. And, I would counter you every now and then. But like the first time, we really got a chance to talk, we were having lunch at the crew member cafeteria known as the Pig and Whistle. Some of the best food you'll ever have.
Great food.
Leftovers.
The Pig and Wiggle.
The Pig and Wiggle. Hopefully no pigeons flying around that day. But the first time, I really got, a kick out of the overall humor I got with you. This is when we both have a sick sense of humor and we still laugh. We were just sitting watching the news about the Boston Marathon, and it's like, oh wow, this is big stuff. And this person is all saying, oh my gosh, they're gonna have to rename the race after this? And I thought, what do you mean? What will they call it now? And you said they got to rename it called Run for Your Life Race. And I just thought, oh my God, that's awful. But why am I laughing? But wait, there's more. There's more. And
I didn't say that. That's a lie.
Such a classy lady, telling the truth. And there's one thing I always tell Jules, that she's such a classy lady. But I think the kicker for me was, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to hell. And yet this is why we became a clique right away. The best thing that you said during that little moment was, boy, how awkward would it be when a family member calls you about how everything went that day? So they call in, ring, ring, ring. Hey, how did the Boston Marathon go? Oh, it was a blast.
So in my defense, when I get really scared or really uncomfortable, I resort to humor. So in that moment, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. And my no filter, just Julie kind of way resorted to that. And just a disclaimer, I'm not that hateful. Like, I'm not like, oh, like the things I said that day were really bad and funny, bad and funny. And isn't that what humor is? Like, sometimes the best humor is the worst humor.
Listen, I like all types of jokes, and no matter if it's cheesy or very tongue-in-cheek, hey, if it makes me laugh, it makes me laugh, because at the end of the day, they're just jokes.
I mean, they're just jokes. But we did meet, I think, 2000. I think I started there in 2012 because I was doing stand-in work for Ryan Murphy's The New Normal with Ellen Barkin. And I remember I had to make the decision whether I wanted to become a regular stand-in on that show or if I wanted to take a real 9-to-5 job and kind of do the Queen Mary thing. And it was a total just position for me. And I had to make the decision. And even my dad at the time was like, look, you've been waiting for something like the television thing, but that could end in a couple of months and you'll still need a job. So I ended up taking the Queen Mary job. The New Normal did get canceled in December, so I made the right decision. But how much fun did we have at the Queen Mary? Let's talk about the Queen Mary a little bit. Do you hear that once again, it filed bankruptcy?
Mm-hmm. What was like that, second or third time now?
I mean, I feel like every couple of years it files bankruptcy.
Well, the last time they filed for bankruptcy, if not mistaken, it was somewhere between either 2005 and 2006. And I don't remember if there was a recession going on, but it was definitely something with the leasing operator. But obviously, something came through and they saved it. But now, as we're in 2021, 2020, definitely changed, quite a bit for the rest of the world ever since COVID happened.
It closed in May, I think, May of last year.
What they did was first they shut down the tours and kept some of the restaurants open. One of the restaurants was open to go. I think it was the Chelsea Chowder House was one. I think Sir Winston's didn't stay open for very long. But they kept the hotel open for a bit until finally in early summer they decided to close everything down for a temporary closure. And pretty much no one's there.
It's still not open.
Except for security. Security's watching it. I don't know if there's like maybe one person for maintenance walking around, but
I would love personally, I would love to go back there. I would love for a group of its former employees or current employees to just walk it. Like, I believe wholeheartedly that ship is haunted. And a lot of people do not believe that. There are a lot of people that are like, it's not haunted. That's a story. That's a joke. I worked on it. I absolutely believe that place is shit bonkers haunted. And I think, oh my God, those ghosts are so active for the last 8 or 9 months with nobody being on the ship. I would give my eye tooth to walk on there right now and be like, hey guys, remember me? I'm back. Let's play. I think those things would be rampant. And it would be so much fun.
I definitely say there's definitely residual energy on that ship. You have to remember that whether it's full of ghosts or, other type of energy, you have to remember that ship has had more people walk through than any other place of its kind left in the world. I mean, you have to think about from the people who first walked in after building it to the last person who walked out. Remember, this ship was construction began in 1930 and she was launched in 1934. So we consider 1934 till summer of 2020. That is already lots of human energy. Energy can still be left behind, and you can feel it and sense it. You could either feel a time period like we're back in there, and some people get that vibe that, okay, I got that spooky heaviness. It's whatever what you take out of it, but what it is, it's that energy you can feel.
Oh, I know, but
very unique.
I mean, I saw so much. I tell people all the time that before I worked on that ship, I believed in ghosts because I'm from the deep South, but I've never had a quantifying moment that made me go, fuck, they exist. Do you know what I mean? Like, I believed in them, but I'd never but working on that ship, I was like, oh my God. Like, there were moments that I would go home and be like, I can't explain it. There were moments at the front desk I couldn't explain things that would happen. And then there were other times where people would come up and they'd be like, I heard something every 15 minutes and it sounded like blocks falling down. And I think my room was haunted. And you would laugh and be like, you're next to the ice machine. Like,
oh,
that was the ice machine lady. But then there were times you would witness things and you'd be like, I can't explain this at all.
I can definitely say, there have been a few stories that I encounter over there that to this day I'll say, you know what, I can't explain it. It can be paranormal, but the mystery of it is what makes it, fascinating. I mean, just even alone, I've always had a very unique vibe when I used to work at night doing the night tours. And when I would close up and, close up the doors and turn off the lights in certain areas of the tour that were only accessible by a tour guide, even at some point after working there for 4 years, I no longer got creeped out walking through those dark bowels of the ship.
You could feel it.
But you could feel it. You could feel it. You're like, all right.
Can I be honest? I wouldn't lock up.
You wouldn't lock up? Well,
because I'd be by myself. I'd be by myself, and I like the first couple of times I did it, I would start when I was a tour guide, I would start to go lock up. And then I just got so scared at one point. I literally was like, job security, this is what security is for. I'm not locking up. Like, I've done my job. I made my tips. I'm going home.
Well, I'm glad you got more tips. I didn't get too many tips, but you know what? That was okay because at the end, it was just.
Yeah, but I baited. I didn't understand how.
I tried baiting. I couldn't do it.
So many employees would be like, I love that Brian Llewellyn came on the ship. And when he did, he was like, I'm okay with you baiting. I'm okay with you guys baiting for tips. And people were like, I don't think it's right. And I don't know how to do it. And I'm like, it's not my problem that you don't know how to do it. I mean, I figured I was there on Fridays and Saturday nights doing Dining with the Spirits. And that was my gig, Sean, for 7 months in a row. All of my Fridays and Saturdays were spent on that ship. And my tours would run long. And I was like, I deserve a tip because we weren't making great money. So I baited. And the way I would do it, and I'll share my bait now because I'm not on that ship anymore. But I used to tell people at the beginning of my tours, I'd be like, remind me at the end of my tour for me to tell you a personal story, but also to tell you how to get rid of the spirits following you home, because a lot of people are always freaked out about that. And then at the end of the tour, when we were down in the exhibit hall, before you get up to walk out that level to go by security, I would act like I'd forgotten. And I'd be like, that's my personal story. It's been great. Thank you for coming to Dining with Spirits. And people would be like, wait a second. How do we make sure they don't follow us home? And I would go, they really like it when you tip your tour guide that spent the last 3 hours with you. And they would all laugh. And I'd be like, I'm just joking. They're not going to follow you home. But then I always would stand up at security and be like, bye, thank you for coming, bye. And I always, every weekend, cleared at least $280 to $300 in tips.
Oh my God.
So am I upset? No, because that paid my expensive California rent. I didn't have to hook or, that stuff.
Well, aren't you so fancy?
Okay.
I'm lucky if I got a $20 tip just for taking someone to the pool because they couldn't get in or find it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh my God, I have so many scary stories in the pool, but that's for another day. I can't tell you any of those when we do just a mess or Juleigh's a mess, because you know all those stories. Before we get into it really fast, let's talk about what Juleigh's a mess is. So every week when I do this podcast, I'm going to have a friend like Sean on. We're going to do the rosé of the day. We're going to talk about how we know each other. We may talk about some current events. This week we talked about the Queen Mary because they have filed bankruptcy in Long Beach. It does seem to be an ongoing thing, and it would be a shame if somebody did not step in and save the Queen Mary, because she is a true jewel in Southern California's coastline. And it's a shame that it seems, as Sean and I have talked about, it's a shame that people want to invest in her and she's never really done right by. Anyway, that leads us to our next segment, which is called Juleigh's a Mess. And I'm really excited about this segment because this will give everybody at home an insight into what I'm really like. A lot of people will say, I want to be your friend. People on TikTok will be like, I think we'd be great friends. I think you're a riot. I think you're a hoot. All of these people that are joining me on Rosé All Day and Juleigh's a Mess, they know me pretty well. They've known me for a long time. Quick question. Sean, did you know me both as Bradford and Juleigh?
Yes, I have. A good portion definitely started off as Bradford. And of course, during the time Bradford used to do his little alter ego, and that was, Miss America, Miss 19 Never, Amanda Sumners. So I thought, you know what? I like these two personalities. And of course, as time progressed, even though Juleigh, came in, but still the same spirit, the same person I've always known. And sometimes I always say the ghost of Bradford still comes out of Juleigh.
Yeah. Bradford's still in here, but I mean, that makes sense because I'm intersex, and we'll talk more about that later. But the way Juleigh's a Mess will work is I'm going to tell a story. I was telling Sean earlier, really hard, because Sean knows everything about me and he's heard almost every story or been witness to a lot of my stories. But the way it works is I will tell the guest a story from my past that they don't know, that they haven't heard. Midway through the story, I'm going to stop, and my guest is going to tell you how they think the story plays out based on who I am and what they know about me. We're going to laugh about it. At the end, I'm going to say, oh, that was really close. Or, oh, gosh, you're not close at all. This is how it ends. And then that will be Juleigh's a Mess. And that segment will happen every week, and I'm really excited about it. So for our first inaugural Juleigh's a Mess.
Let me drink my child's blood first. Hang on.
Okay, drink those blood of lost children. So here we go. Look, I think it's so funny that for this story, my parents are in the background. There they are. So here we go. My brother and I, Craig, are extremely close. And when we were kids, I wanted to be just like Craig in every way. He loved G.I. Joes. I tried to play with G.I. Joes. He had a white soldier out of all the Cobra soldiers, and I just assumed she was the white virgin of the group. So I would always be like, I want to be her. And my brother was like, that's not a girl. Anyway, I know, funny. So I always wanted to be just like Craig. So one night, my parents had dinner guests over, and Craig and I were left to our own devices. Now, back in the 70s, women, just like now, would light candles when guests came over. And we had these really big white pillar candles that were in the den on top of the television, which was like a built-in with our TV. And then like our couch and chairs set around it. And then she'd put some like on the big sofa table behind us. So Craig, one night, mom and dad were in the kitchen with their dinner guest, and my brother would take a napkin and light it on fire in the candle, and then he would run into the bathroom and throw it in the sink and turn the water on before it got like out of control. How do you think this story ends?
I can tell already. Someone
you have to tell it. You have to tell it like a storyteller. You can't just be like, "Oh God."
Oh, okay. So I'm continuing this actual story. Oh my gosh. So once Craig started lighting, the fire there, being as a child, you think this is all fun and everything, but then the fire started to get big, and he eventually started getting a little nervous, realizing, oh my gosh, this is getting too big. I'm in deep trouble. And next thing you know, the flames got too big in the sink, and eventually someone near the bathroom area starts saying, what's that smell? What's burning? And Craig started saying nothing and tried to play it off. And once mom comes in, next thing you know, poof, flames all over the sink, potentially burning out the sink to a darker hue. And let's just say mom pretty much tore him a new one, and she pretty much started saying, I cannot trust you kids in here. Do you realize we could have lost this house, and then we won't have to replace everything? You have no more toys. And then you and Craig were crying because you guys are trying to have fun, but then you realize, we caused trouble, and at that point you were no longer trusted to be unsupervised.
That's creative. You're such a good storyteller. That is not what happened.
What happened? What happened?
That is not what happened. So that's what makes Juleigh's a Mess super fun, because I don't think really on any given week people are going to get the truth. I don't think they're going to get it right. So Craig was really fast, and Craig was a pro at not getting caught ever at doing stuff. Now, Craig always had my back too, usually. Like if it was something where I really needed a big brother or help, he was there. But he also did like things where, like, if we were having liver and Brussels sprouts, which I don't think any kid really likes. Now I love liver and I love Brussels sprouts. But back then I didn't. And my parents would always have dinner with us, and then they would get up and leave to go talk. And they would leave my older brother and I at the dinner table to finish. And once we finished, we would then have to clear the table and start the dishes. That was like our chores. And so Craig would do this thing. We had a bathroom right next to our kitchen table, and it was where the washer and dryer was. It's where the toilet was. There was a toilet in there. Then it was the washer and dryer. And so I always watched Craig like I was going to learn how to do stuff. Like he was so cool, even at that age. And he would do things where, like, he would get up and be like, shh, don't say anything. And he would go to the bathroom and he'd rake his liver and Brussels sprouts into the toilet and flush it. And then he'd be like, I'm done. And my parents would be like, okay, can you watch your little brother and make sure that he finishes? Okay. And then I would kind of giggle and get excited, and I'd pick my plate and start to like walk to the bathroom, and he'd be like, Bradford's trying to flush his dinner down the toilet.
Oh no.
Seriously, yo? Like, I guess all brothers do that. Like, but I was like, ooh. So, but he was usually pretty good about, like, if there was trouble, or if he knew that, like, if I did something and he knew that it was going to come back and point the finger at him, then he would try and correct it or autocorrect it so we wouldn't get in trouble. So the way this story ends is I wanted to be just like Craig. And I was so excited. And I thought, how cool to light a paper napkin on fire and then run down the hallway to the bathroom, throw it in the sink before anything happens. So I took a napkin and I lit it on fire. And I got so excited and it burned so fast. I turned around to run to the bathroom and I dropped it on our big brown shag 1970s family room carpet.
Oh no.
And it caught on fire.
Oh.
And Craig started stomping on it and was like, hurry up, it's out. Go take it to your bathroom. So I took it to the bathroom. I flushed it. I got rid of the evidence. But our big brown 1970 shag carpet was now crunchy in the spot that it had caught fire. And Craig was like, oh crap, like what do we do? So we pulled my dad's favorite armchair over the spot. And it wasn't that far away, so it's not like it was so noticeable that the chair was out of place. But the ottoman and the chair covered the crunchiness of the carpet. Now, the smell was still lingering in the air, but I don't remember what happened directly after that. I think my dad came in and he was like, what's going on in here? And Craig was like, nothing. And my parents were like, well, y'all need to be quiet. We have company over. And they left and went back to dinner. It wasn't until like a couple of weeks later. My dad is a cleaner. When my dad cleans, he cleans. Like we used to get so mad at him because he'd give us chores on the weekend and he'd be like, you're vacuuming, you're cleaning the bathroom. Somehow Craig always got to vacuum. I remember I always had to clean the bathroom. As much as I hated it then, my bathroom now is spotless. Like I can't be mad at my dad now because I do like the white glove test now in my bathroom.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But then I was like, fuck, I'm never going to get to go do anything on the weekends. It was either vacuuming or dusting or cleaning the bathroom. And sometimes it just wasn't a fair split. But anyway, regardless, when my dad vacuumed, he would like push furniture to the side and vacuum. He'd move the sofa back and vacuum. Like he cleaned. And one day he pushed that chair back. He put it back in the right position. And you hear him go, what in the dickens? Because, you know, that's how our parents spoke in the 70s. Weird stuff. What in the dickens? And he was like, why is the carpet crunchy? Craig, Bradford.
That's what we don't hear every day. Why is the carpet crunchy? Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I don't even know if my mom knows that story. Like she never mentioned it, but like my dad was livid. And I look back at that moment and I think that's probably one of the easiest situations I had to go through with my parents. Crunchy carpet. Like I mean, I even remember we had a fish tank in my bedroom and my dad cleaned it every month, would like clean it. And I remember I thought the fish were dead one day. So I scooped them all out and threw them in the toilet. And right as I flushed, they started swimming around.
Oh, geez.
Fuck. Like, so I don't know if my dad remembers that story. I'm pretty sure Craig doesn't. Maybe he does. But it was always because I wanted to do exactly what he did. I wanted to be just like him. And in the course of trying to be just like my older brother, I almost burned our fucking house down. Julie's a mess.
And now take a sip of rosé all day.
That's right. Now back to my Cape Rosé. Okay. Now we go to a segment in the show. It's about, we're about 30 minutes in, so we're doing really well. But let's go to a segment that I like to call 5 questions. So I'm going to ask my guest 5 questions, kind of in the vein of the Actors Studio. I may broaden this as the podcast goes on. I may ask 5 questions about me that you can answer, and I may ask 5 questions about you. I'm not sure how I'll do it. It is the first show, so we'll just go with it and see what happens. And then we're going to talk, and then we'll kind of finish out the show with an added bonus for you guys. But okay, here we go. Sean, if you had a minute to describe me, Juleigh, to somebody that had never met me before, what would you say?
The thing I will say is when you meet Juleigh, you're going to meet someone with not only with an outgoing personality, but if you enjoy an evening with laughs and humor, you're going to be waking up sore the next day because your ribs will be sore from laughing all day. She has this energy that not every friend can possess. And I always say sometimes the best way to make good friends is sharing amazing stories that will always make people laugh. Hell, I mean, there might be some times where we first meet this person, you might even feel, oh my gosh, why is it that we're talking like we know each other already? So you establish a connection early on, and next thing you know, you just click. And it's kind of like how I encountered you during our Queen Mary days. It was just watching something in the news during our lunch break and just talking and shared a joke, and we just ultimately clicked. And next thing you know, we're talking the next day as if I know each other for a long time. It's just that energy of like you just connect so fast and you don't realize it until everyone's sitting together with you.
I love it. Okay, next question. If you and I worked at Dark Horizon together, and that was the inaugural year for that was 2019 in Orlando. It was put on by the sponsors of Dark Harbor, which was a long-ending thing in Southern California. COVID-19 has totally put a crinkle in so much of the things that people have done. You were in Murder Island.
Yes.
Correct? You and David Dean were in Murder Island. I was on Ghost Ship, which was about a female pirate crew that had succumbed to like scurvy and botulism, and we were all dead, but we didn't know it. If you could create a brand new role for me at Dark Horizon, what would it be?
Oh my God. The thing is, got a couple ideas, but would they even allow it? Just because.
Well, no, but I mean, they probably wouldn't allow it, but just say it. You know, like.
I mean, how funny will it be to see like, a zombie hooker themed like me?
A zombie hooker. Lovely. Lovely. How do you know that's not what I do in my real life?
Well, I mean,
all day with your zombie hooker, just Juleigh.
Mean, you're not a hooker, but I know you're giving your share of community service.
Don't you have to get paid for it to be a hooker?
I mean, under the table, if you want to be on the down low. I mean, you could have done that, or hey,
so many things could happen under the table.
Or hell, if you want to, try play off a different role of, hooker, you can always, come up with a new charity group. As Joan Rivers once called it, she said you can call it Feels on Wheels.
Feels on Wheels. I love it. Okay. Let's see. You would think I'd have some questions written down, but I thought I'd wing it. And now look at me.
Come on, Julie Lipton.
I know, right? So what do you think my favorite curse word is?
Oh, gosh. I would say bitch.
Actually, I say fuck a lot. Like I'm like, fuck.
That is true. You do say it a lot.
I say it a lot. So probably fuck. Yeah, probably fuck. What's your favorite curse word?
Shit.
You say shit a lot.
Just because it could be, it's so versatile.
It really is. Well, fuck is too. I mean,
yeah, this shit just sounds funnier for me, at least.
I say fuck a duck a lot too. For some reason, I'll be like, fuck a duck. And I'm like, what does a duck have to do with it?
And if you're not paying attention to your autocorrect, it's got to say, duck a duck.
Or it's going to say duck a duck. Duck a duck. I don't get autocorrect. You know autocorrect, I think they should program it because everybody and their mother says curse words.
Mm-hmm.
And let me be honest, this is when you know you're an adult. Here's one of the clear-cut signs you know you're an adult. When your parents start cussing in front of you. Right? Like my mom and dad always didn't cuss in front of us. But now that I'm like way into my 40s, occasionally you'll hear my mom be like, oh shit. What? What did you just say? Of course, my parents think damn it's a cuss word.
It can be if you're really that delicate. I remember I rarely hear my parents curse in front of me because I don't see them very much because I live across the country. But
I'm delicate, but I'm delicate like a bomb, not a flower. Okay. Final question. Well, final of the 5. What's one of your favorite memories of me?
One of your favorite memories of you? Oh my God. There's just so many. Where do I go?
Probably right off the cliff. You're probably taking this right off the cliff, Sean.
Let's see. I just think just in general really was when you were rooming, with your friend that lived in Windermere. And it's just whenever
we can say her name. We can say her name, Melissa. We love Melissa.
We love Melissa
Shaver.
And
she just celebrated 16 years at Discovery Cove. Isn't that great?
I know.
And I'm not gonna say her age because she looks not a day over 21, but she just had a big birthday this year.
She did. But even though you were rooming with her and that was her home, it's just every time I've always walked into that home, I always felt always welcome, always warmth, and it was just something walking into that home and just seeing you, whether we're gonna kick back over there or go out for the evening. It was just knowing that, hey, I'm coming to your home, and this is a place where I can be myself and be comfortable, and always just felt very warm and welcome there. There was just something about that house that it always brought like a happy, positive connection over there. That's really the biggest thing I've always liked. I miss going over there.
Mm-hmm. Well, and our photo shoot in her bedroom, which she got super mad about.
Yeah, our little phantom photo booth, and
she was so mad at me. She's still like, "Oh my God, that's my bed." I was like, "Well, yes."
Sorry. We need lighting. That's why.
That was 5 years ago. Get over it.
There's no way it was 5 years ago. Was it really?
It was 2015, that photo shoot.
Oh my God.
And look, we can apologize right now to Melissa. We never would have had to have used her bedroom and the good lighting in her bedroom had somebody not fucked up the SD card from the first photo shoot at the apartment. Because there were some good photos on that too. And you know what? I still use those photos. Those photos were used for my Maxim submission last year. I mean, I'm still using those photos. So, Melissa's going to kick our ass for talking about her.
But her room looks great for lighting.
It's okay. So, Sugar Bean. It's okay, Sugar Bean. So, Yeah, her house was great. And it's a testament to who she is. And it's a testament to who our friends are, that you felt welcome, that you felt so welcome there. And I have a lot of good memories there. And I hate that I had to move out because of what I was told by the National Institute of Health about, establishing dominancy and two women living together. And I just hate that, because she was a great friend to me and all that time. Anyway, okay, here is the last question. People that follow me on TikTok and people that follow my social media platforms know that I'm intersex. I was born 47XXY. In cooperating with that and adding that into each podcast that I do, you've known me for a long time. Let me first ask, what, before you knew me, did you ever know about XXY or intersex?
Be honest with you, I don't think I really know about it as much, just because it's something that doesn't really get talked about very often, just because people just don't know it. And in our society, people always say, people might have this instead, or they may have that, or people can be basically born both. But it was always sort of like a little speculation, but there was no like honest truth to confirm if it was true or not. And it's the lack of people knowing that it's the thing out there. And today, our society is trying to make things a little more gender neutral, or try to be more fluid, just because there are some people that may not be able to identify right away, or in these cases they're stuck in the middle. Like right now, the biggest thing that's drawing a lot of cranky people is now they're trying to make Mr. Potato Head more like Potato Head. And when you read all these comments, people are either arrogant because obviously they have their own different views, but at the same time they may not know, and you can maybe educate them, but they might not believe it, or they may not accept it. And it's also to do with the fact with identity, whether it's transgender people, or people who are born XXY, and you just want to be more neutral, so that way it's more just moving forward. And we want to make sure, hey, we acknowledge that there are other people out there that may not feel, hey, we exist, we're real, and this is also awareness. And once again, timing is changing, and some people just do not want to accept the change.
I agree with that. I think what's weird about the Mr. Potato Head fight is people are like, we've known forever there's been a Mrs. Potato Head and a Mr. Potato Head. And people are like, well, now they're coming out with a gender neutral. And I'm like, a gender neutral would be not to put any fucking thing in the potato and just look at the potato.
People are complaining over a potato.
Like, seriously, it's a potato. That would be like saying, let's make our pet rocks more gender fluid. Don't fucking draw on it. It's a rock. Like, I get so upset. But thank you for saying that. And thank you for putting your 2 cents in about that. So the last question, and kind of how we'll round out the show, it's about 5:41. So I had allotted about an hour and a half, or an hour and 20 minutes for our first podcast. We are encroaching on about the hour mark. So if it runs short, it runs short. But my question for you is there anything, now that you've witnessed what I've been through, and you've gotten to see it, I mean, you've been pretty much front row seats for everything that I've gone through since 2015. Knowing what you know about my journey, and knowing what you know now about intersex and XXY, what's one thing that you've always wanted to ask me about my journey, or about what I've gone through, that you don't have an answer for? So what's a question that you've always wanted to ask me, but maybe you've hesitated on, or you haven't asked me for whatever reason? It's an open forum, so go ahead and ask.
I got a couple of them, obviously. Overall, do you feel an improvement from the transition, to be more female, do you feel your health has gone better? Do you feel any improvement? And of course, the last thing is, do you miss being Bradford, or do you actually like Julie a lot more?
Okay, so for the people that are listening that maybe haven't had any idea before, I'll explain XXY real fast and then I'll answer your question. So I was born 47 XXY. That means I have an additional extra chromosome attached to every single one of my chromosomal pairs. So for you, Sean, you have 23 pairs and they're XY. And that makes up 46 chromosomes for you, XY being male. I have an extra X female chromosome attached to every single one of my chromosomal pairs. So that makes me 47 XXY. XXY for the longest time was called Klinefelter syndrome. Klinefelter syndrome is actually a disease of the testicles. You have to be XXY to have Klinefelters, but not everybody that's born XXY will get Klinefelter syndrome. There are women that are born XXY. There are 42 different chromosomal and genetic variants on a spectrum between XY and XX. And all of those 42, now I've even heard 43 variations are considered intersex. They fall under this umbrella of intersex. So I identify now as an intersex female. I was raised Bradford. At 17, we found out that I had that extra X chromosome, but at 43, we found out that I also had a partial uterus, that I had one ovary and one testicle. So now they think I never had Klinefelter syndrome because the extra testicle not descending was actually an ovary. I have half a pancreas. I have no Adam's apple. I have a female-sized heart. I have male-sized lungs. So what Sean's talking about is at 43, the National Institute of Health said, look, your body is shutting down on itself. And you were born both, and you have parts of both, but we think you would do a lot better on estrogen. We think your health would be a lot better on estrogen, and you're going to have to be on it the rest of your life. And it's going to cause you to swing to the full female end of the spectrum. It'll cause a transition. You need to have the ovary and the testicle removed. You need to have precancerous cells in your pelvic floor scraped. You basically need to have a hysterectomy, and you need to transition yesterday. And it's all in the name for better health. And if you don't do that, we believe as your team here at the NIH that you'll be dead by 48. I turned 46 this year. I've never felt healthier. I've been on estrogen. I'll be on it the rest of my life. I started 3 years ago, and I have noticed countless changes. I heal still slowly, but better. I had to have an amputation in the fall of a toe. It healed in weeks compared to a toe I lost in May of 2015 that took 8 months to close up and heal. I just feel healthier. I do, to answer that question for you, I feel healthier. Can I run a marathon? No. Do I still have lupus and osteoporosis? Yes. But do I feel healthier? Absolutely. Every day is a little bit better. Every day is a little bit different, but I feel like I'm healthier than I have ever been. So yes, I do feel healthier. Do I miss Bradford? He's still here. He's still in me. You know, when I had to transition, the doctor said, I need to make sure that mentally you are ready for this. And I said, basically, you're telling me that I've been in a Ford Pinto my whole life, that everything's broken and shutting down, that the wheels are popped and the headlights are broken and the interior of the car is torn and the paint's scraped and nobody wants to buy it and it's way past a beater car. And by taking the estrogen, you're giving me a brand new S-Class Mercedes to finish the race. And the driver's the same. I was born intersex. I am Bradford, but I am also Juleigh. And he's still in here. So I can't quantify being one over the other because I am still both. Even though I had the ovary and the testicle removed, even though I had to transition, I still am both. Bradford spirit is very much a part of who I am. And it's important because my mom had said at one point to me that she didn't know Juleigh. She's like, I don't know Juleigh. I know Bradford. She's like, for 43 years, I've known Bradford. And she goes, I don't know Juleigh. She's like, I have pictures of Bradford in the house. And I said, do me a favor. Next time you look at those photos, look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. Those are the same eyes. They're not changing. The way they look at you, they're always going to show love. They're always going to show a fondness for you. And the memories that I had growing up, they're not going to change. My eyes are the same. So when you want to see Bradford, look into the eyes of Bradford's photos. And when you look at Juleigh, look into the eyes. Because we're the same. I may look a hell of a lot better and pretty and stunning. And you may want to slap me. But the eyes are the same. And he's in here. He's just not... You know, he had 43 years and now it's Juleigh's turn.
Oh, wow. That's a wonderful way to put it.
That's just Juleigh, folks. That's just Juleigh. I want to thank Sean for being on my inaugural podcast. If you enjoy this and you want to follow me, you can absolutely go to justjuleigh.com. The link is at the bottom of this podcast. Follow Juleigh on justjuleigh.com for more content. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Facebook. Just follow me. I want to thank, even though they didn't know it, my Rosé All Day sponsor today, once again, is Cape Rosé. Cape Rosé. It is a delicious wine. It's great. It'll be a great pairing for your dinner, even if you just want to drink rosé. Next week, we'll have a different rosé altogether. Got to go to the grocery store this weekend and find something random to pick out and share with all my followers. Next week, we will have a brand new guest. I'm not sure who it will be. So if you liked what you saw tonight and you're enjoying this show, then reach out to me so maybe you can be my guest next week, next Tuesday on Rosé All Day, Juleigh's a Mess. Thank you very much for joining me. I love all of you. Sean, thank you for not only being a friend, but somebody that supports me. I love you very much.
I love you too. No matter how far we are.
See you later. Good night, everybody.